Today on my Kiss collection, Kiss Unmasked. Here we go. First up, we have an original first pressing released on May 20th, 1980. This is a complete kit with all the goodies. This is a number 26 version, which means it was pressed at the PRC facility in Compton, California. It shipped with the new Kiss Essentials gear form. It was in black and white print, which was a little disappointing after having all those cool merch forms from the 1970s. This thing was loaded with merch to buy. According to this form, the 1977 tour shirts were sold out, and if you wanted to order something, you had to mail the whole form in since you didn't have an envelope, making this a rare insert indeed. It shipped with a black coated inner sleeve. I put it in plastic right away, as these are pretty fragile. This one was in decent shape, but it still had a few splits in it. I also have this clipping from Rolling Stone magazine. I added it to the collection just for safekeeping. The LP shipped with the designer Casablanca-style label with the artwork of the band. This was such a strange album from the band. Even at my young age, I could tell that not all was well in Kiss land. It didn't sound like the Kiss I knew. As a dedicated fan, I forced myself to like it. Paul Stanley once said of this record, "It sounds thin and has no balls." Of course, this kit would not be complete without the comic book style poster, painted by Victor Stabin. We'll talk a little bit more about him later. It does have a few tacks and tapes on it, but otherwise it's in great condition. Victor Stabin was commissioned by the band to do the artwork for the new LP. He was living in his loft in New York City, a struggling artist, when Paul, Gene, and Ace actually went to his loft to offer him the job. You can check out the link below for more on that. As you've seen in my other videos, my collection would not be complete without a Japanese copy. This was released on June 25th, 1980. The LP was manufactured by the Polystar Corporation for Casablanca distribution. It shipped with the popular half-moon sleeves, which I immediately replaced with a poly rice paper archival sleeve. It has a beautiful obi sash around the jacket. Obi means ribbon, and the Japanese LP market has them on all of their LPs. Because in Japan, they didn't want to alter the original artwork on the albums, which I think is pretty cool. It shipped with a lyric sheet written in Japanese and English. Another cool add-on by the Japanese market. The rear cover is clad in white print instead of the red print found on other imports. This record is in great shape. The LP shipped with the Casablanca Filmworks label, with the Unmasked badging, with the Polystar branding. It did not come with the poster or the merch form. I will hunt these down later. I've seen a few of these surface on eBay from time to time. Okay, time for the Kistery lesson. It's 1980. The buzz in the monthly 16 teen magazine that a new album was coming out by the band called Unmasked. I couldn't believe it. I actually didn't want to see the guys revealed. The theme behind the LP was the nosy reporter running around trying to get a look at the guys without their makeup. Back then, there was no internet, and it was easy to keep things under wraps. Everybody had more privacy. Nobody knew what the guys looked like at that time. It might not seem like a big deal nowadays, but that was part of the mystique of the band. Behind the scenes and the makeup, things were falling apart. Peter was out, and Ace had one foot out the door. Anton Fig was asked to play all the parts on the LP. He then went on to play with Ace after he left the band. Eric Carr happened to slip in the band just in time to actually get a tour with the makeup, costumes, and Ace still in the band. With Eric behind the drums, the group never sounded better. Check out the link below for their live show in Australia. Last but not least, a South Korean copy from Sung Eum Records, and I'm sure I pronounced that wrong. This copy was released in 1981. This is a super cool record and I had to have it. It's in excellent condition. The jacket is a little flimsy. I will add a cardboard spacer to the packet, just to keep it stiff. The cover has a hype label. It came with a poly half-moon sleeve with some unique print stamped on it, HKR. I know the other names on the sleeve are from other manufacturers around the world. If anyone understands what's going on with this sleeve, please comment. The LP was distributed by Polygram Records for Casablanca Filmworks. The LP shipped with the Filmworks label, written in English with the Polygram branding. It includes a lyric sheet, written in English, and the Seoul South Korean dialect. It also has some cool pics of the band, including Eric Carr's debut makeup and uniform. Each photo has a catalog number, which means these were for sale separately as collectibles. I'll be on the lookout for these, just so I can add them to the pack for a little more fun. When it's all said and done, I add the jacket in its own plastic sleeve, and then I put that into a larger sleeve. I put the LP into its new archival sleeve. Add the stiffener. I think this is very important to any record collection. The stiffener just keeps things nice and tight. I wrap up the merch form, add the inner sleeve to the plastic along with the clipping, and last but not least, the poster. I know it seems like overkill, but I do plan on selling this collection someday, so I would like to keep everything as best as possible. And if you like anything that you see here, please consider subscribing to my channel. I have links below to all the products that I used. I've had some folks inquire about my gear, so I left links for that as well. I do not get sponsored by these companies, but I can vouch for the quality of all these items. And that does it for my KISS collection. Coming up next, Kiss the Elder. Stay tuned. Cheers.